So the rewards that you pursue while you're playing for the duration of a campaign are more gameplay affecting, and the ones that you receive that are persistent, the goal is to have them represent your status as a player, the length of time you've been playing and how good you are.
Yeah, and the reward system for the campaign is really built around rewarding people for playing together as a team. Actually, just a kill gets you the least amount of points. So doing things that actually support the overall team goal is what rewards you the best. And we found out in Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, it really drives a lot of how people sort of progress through the game, how they choose to do their actions, and it comes out as a great formula there, and we try to take that and expand it. But like Paul said, that really affects the campaign, which is a three mission event. Outside of that, we have persistent stats. We found that if you make things that affect gameplay last too long, you really unbalance it for people who come in like a year later. It doesn't affect people for the first few months, but after that it begins to be a problem.
With Enemy Territory Quake Wars, we track every single action that you complete that assists the team. So whether you're an engineer constructing defense turrets, a field ops character class deploying fire support, a medic reviving your teammates, a covert ops off on missions gathering reconnaissance on the team, or a soldier escorting a mobile command post, all of those things, the experience points that you gain for those team-based actions are more valuable than simply fragging the enemy. And so we know when you have excessive experience points in any of those categories that you are a good team player. We were talking about the original high concept, and neither Kevin or I are programmers. And well, Doom 3 is essentially a linear indoor single-player first-person shooter. And we wanted to make a multiplayer, outdoor, terrain-based game with vehicle combat. And we wanted to use the Doom 3 engine. And I think that when we started out, as non-programmers, we thought that would be the biggest hurdle. But the great thing about id technology is how flexible it is. I mean, companies could choose to use it to make a real-time strategy game or a role-playing game or whatever, because what it is fundamentally is just a very, very good renderer with a really good physics engine. So we had to extend the networking, and we had to build in, additions to the vehicle physics. And as Kevin said, we had John Carmack devise the megatexture technology for us, but really that initial foundation was what we thought would be the biggest hurdle. I'd say probably just transatlantic communication, the fact that Splash Damage are based in London and id Software based in Dallas. We generally do everything via ICQ, so that can lead to misunderstandings and stuff. But we travel a lot as well. Kevin tends to come out and visit us in London, and I try and get over here to Dallas as often as I can.
It's huge technical challenges and game design challenges that we've been through. When you look at, like Paul was talking about, taking the Doom technology and advancing it where we want it to be for this type of game, we spent a lot of time working that through early in the game development to try to get the fundamental elements out of the way. The networking support, the physics, the outdoor rendering, all that was big challenges. Now what we're looking at is just the issues of communicating the gameplay to the player. The interface issues and how best to take what really is a deep game that has a lot of complexity to it, and bringing that out so people can, when they get into it, can understand, okay, this is exactly what I need to do. Here's my objective. Here's how I work together to support the team. And we've got the solutions worked out through things like the solo assignment system.
Well, I think one of the great things, one of the things that I'm quite proud of that we've overcome, because you see there is this asymmetry in the game, and it's very difficult to balance, because in a game where you do just reskin the two teams, what you can do is just do simple equations like damage over time, like how fast does a weapon fire, how much damage does it do, total that up, compare it to another weapon, and you can balance two weapons. But when you're dealing with completely asymmetrical tools, so the abilities of the Strog versus the abilities of the GDF are completely different, it becomes something that's quite difficult to balance. And because you can't guarantee that everybody on a server is playing with the same level of knowledge, you can't tell whether the two teams are balanced. So it becomes this kind of heuristic nightmare as opposed to being something that you can solve formulaically, if there is such a word as formulaically. So what we've done is we've got a system in the game that takes you as a brand new player And when you jump into the game and you have absolutely no idea what you're supposed to do, so let's say, for example, you click soldier and you click deploy. You don't even know what a soldier does. I mean, obviously he fights people, but you don't know what he's carrying and the equipment that he has, his loadout. And on your team, there's a covert ops guy who's been off and performed reconnaissance on the enemy base. So he's gathered intelligence on the location of a strategic strike gun. And you're the perfect class to go and destroy it, but you just simply wouldn't know about it. You don't even know that you're carrying a heavy explosive charge. Well, what the Solo Assignment System does is dynamically allocate missions or make missions available to players based on the status of the game, the position of the objectives, and how everything is progressing, so that you as a soldier know exactly where to go, what to do when you get there, and what your reward's going to be for completing that mission. Kevin has an analogy which I think is a reasonable one. There were people in Return to Castle Wolfenstein multiplayer who would put up 50, 60 player servers and stuff. And it's good fun, but it becomes a street fight, as Kevin says. And I think in talking to Kevin early on, we both felt that between 24 and 32 players was really the sweet spot.